my list. I've been under the care of mental health services since the age of 17. However, besides assessments and a brief period of cognitive behavioural therapy, most of my treatment has come from my GP. I was originally diagnosed with an eating disorder not otherwise specified. Couldn't even get anorexia right. And then with cyclothymia. I'm unsure what age I was when I acquired that diagnosis, maybe early 20s. I've since had group and individual psychotherapy. But despite that, despite being almost 32, it is only recently that I told any mental health professional what had happened to me at the age of 19. At the age of 19, I experienced what I now come to accept was gang rape. However, at the time, I convinced myself that as I had not fought back, had not been adamant in saying no, stop, that they were men of status, that it wasn't rape. How could it be? Surely, if it was a sexual assault, I would have fought, I would have said stop, I would have bruises, I would have tried to leave. Real victims of crime report it to the police and provide forensic evidence. This is actually quite rare, with only 13% of the British public reporting their rape or abuse each year. The remaining 87% do not. I even embarked on a brief relationship with one of the attackers. I think that was my way of convincing myself that I had been an active participant in what had happened that night. Needless to say, it did not last. I blame myself. Is it any wonder when there are so many messages about victim blaming in society? Blaming myself was one way in which I could convince myself that I was to blame. It allowed me to punish myself, explain why I repeatedly put myself in similar, more and more dangerous environments and situations. It allowed me to say that I deserved what happened. I understand now that when someone is sexually assaulted or harmed in some ways, that there are different ways of responding. Immediately, in the days, the weeks and the months afterwards, there really isn't a right or a wrong way. For me, my response has spanned many years and most probably will last my lifetime. Re-traumatising, self-harming, trying to escape the pain, or just trying to feel something, anything. But that has to be okay. It's only now that I can say the word rape, that I can see how that one night changed the trajectory of my life and many of the choices that I made afterwards. The way that I view myself, the way that I view the world. Now I know that there tend to be 5 responses to trauma. Fight, flight, freeze, friend, or flop, all which are difficult to say when you've got a list. I flopped, and I allowed my body to be violated in a number of ways. It is common for people to question whether what had happened to them was really rape or abuse. This is due to the myths and stereotypes in society. From an early age, we are told that rape is when a strange man attacks a woman in a dark alley, and most of society still believes that those types of rapes are the real rapes. So when someone is assaulted and they don't fit that stereotype, they will question whether their experience was valid, whether it really constitutes rape, and would anyone believe them? How do I know these things? Was I informed by a healthcare professional, my therapist, psychiatrist? Was I offered trauma-informed care? Was I listened to? Did they say, we will support you, we believe you, it wasn't your fault, you are not alone. I'm sorry this happened to you. I care, I will listen, I will help you. No. I avoided telling them, the professionals. That was a desperate attempt to avoid the pathologisation and the label of borderline personality disorder, the stigma and the rejection that come with that diagnosis. So I know that as soon as someone is diagnosed with EUPD, They're seen as irrational, they're dehumanised, they're seen as an irritant. We can't help you, we don't know what to do with you. The compassion that they receive from mental health professionals will be lessened on the basis of that diagnosis alone. For me, trying and failing to deal with complex trauma, to be told that I was the problem, that I couldn't regulate my own emotions, that my personality was disordered, that I was difficult, that there was no hope for me, it would have been too much. Ironically, last month I was given the confirmed diagnosis of EUPD anyway. Maybe that would be liberating, as I now have nothing to lose and I can talk in therapy about what happened to me for the first time. I've also benefited from hearing the many stories of sexual assault in developing